Is it going? I'm live. So, hello. I was gonna make an actual video, but it's just kind of a lot easier to stream. So, I'm gonna do this, and I gotta make it short because I'm kind of slacking on my YouTube game. But I thought I would talk about my trading journey because I think this is probably relatable to a lot of viewers if there are people that are thinking about day trading. Making this video for you and just why I got into it and what I've learned so far, kind of, which I probably should have thought of this a little bit more thought out, but we're just gonna jump right in. So first of all, I'm still in college and I really do enjoy school and want to have career success. I think one thing that Farmer talks a lot about, if Farmer's watching this, LOL, one thing Farmer talks a lot about is like he doesn't necessarily understand, like he didn't care to like have a specific career. There is something that like I specifically want to do. And I don't think just making money would ever be enough for me. So this might vary from other people. And this might be idyllic. An idealized version in my head of what I think a career would look like. But I'm going to write this in the chat. What made you start trading? Like, I still want to have a career outside of trading. I don't want trading to just be my main source of income. And so Farmer gets mad at me, but I still say to this day, I'm doing this for supplemental income. This might end up being my main source of income, and then I have like another part-time job. But all that's to say, I guess I don't necessarily know why other people get into trading. Or do people go into it thinking that it's going to be their main source of income? Do they stumble across it because they're 10 years into their career and they are tired of it and it's just kind of crappy? Because I know that happens a lot. And the field that I'm going into does not pay well. That's a big thing too. I'm not going to be an engineer or anything fancy, so I'm not going to get paid a lot, and that's kind of concerning a little bit just because I want to help support my family that I raise myself, or like with my husband. But you know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm in it for, is like, I know that I'm not going to be making a lot of money. I have confidence that I will be able to figure it out. I think if I didn't have confidence that I could figure it out, I wouldn't keep with it. Sometimes I pause and I'm like, oh, do I really think that I can do this? And then I'm like, well, if I didn't think I could really do it, then I would have given up like 2 months ago. But I really do think that I can figure it out, and I have learned a lot. I've learned a lot of stuff that I don't think I always realize how much I know. To me, I'm like, oh, I still don't understand so much. It's still very confusing to me. I feel like looking at this screen is like hard. Let me just pull up my trading window. You can go down here. Okay. You can also go down. But now it's kind of disconcerting because I don't see the chat. Okay, hold on. Okay. This can be down here or something. But yeah, so sometimes, what was I saying? Yeah, so my timeline is I want to do sim for probably 6 or 7 months. Farmer did his for 6 months. I believe he was in sim, and he wishes that he was in it longer. So I feel like I'm going to take a bit longer than him just because, I don't know. Maybe I don't have to because I'm literally hearing all of his advice and I have quite a bit of an advantage. in that he really knows what he's doing now. So it might take me less time. We don't know. But I'm thinking 6 months is probably a good benchmark. So where does that put me at? September, October, November, December, January, March, April. Is that 6 months? No, that's more than 6 months. September, October, November, December, January, February, March. I skipped February. So March 15th is kind of the day that I'm thinking. That would be good. I think middle of March, and do really small share sizes. But yeah, 6 months is kind of my plan. I feel like I'm relatively on track. I could afford to, I think, trade longer each day than I am now. I only trade usually like 20 minutes. I mean, the market is most volatile in the beginning part, but I do miss out on some good lessons when I just end early, because I do end up getting kind of emotional and just kind of like tired of it. I'm just like, I want to be done. So, do that. Anyways, back to my journey, starting at the start. So yeah, those are my reasons. Was supplemental income. My brother does it, and I have a great opportunity to be his little apprentice, to work directly with someone that really knows what they're doing. I also think, in a more abstract sense, that it's helping me to really hone in a different part of like the way I think in my brain. I think it's good to stretch yourself in areas that you're not necessarily comfortable with. And the more ways that you can diversify your thinking, the better off. Like, you're going to benefit in other ways too. Like, think of all the skills that you can bring into trading that aren't necessarily, they don't seem necessarily transferable. But they are. Like, I love looking for patterns in people. I like to be able to predict behavior. Like, I love personality tests, and I love that type of stuff where you are very observant of your surroundings, and whether you're able to perceive it or not, at least you're observing and taking that time to like get out of yourself and observe what's going on. And I think now that I do trading, it is interesting to apply that kind of thinking to trading. And to apply what I am learning in trading, which I think how do I think? I think there's a lot of intangibles to it. I don't think you necessarily are like, I learned what a bull flag is. That can directly apply to being able to discern like toxic behavior in someone. IDK, but you know what I mean? It's just like a core skill. It's like this argument I used to make until I learned my lesson. And I apply it all the time, which is people saying, well, why am I learning chemistry? I don't have to use that in the real world. Or why do I have to learn biology? Why do I have to learn calculus? Why do I have to learn any of these skills? And honestly, do I have any viewers? Oh, no. The biggest part is that it's stretching your critical thinking skills. If you only did what you were really good at and you never forced yourself to think in a different way outside of what you're used to, you're both missing out on the opportunity to learn something new and exciting. And you're also not going to be able to hone in your craft with what you're good at as well, because there's different parts to thinking that you learn. And it's not only that, it's the perseverance that it takes to keep going in subject areas that you're not as good at. So like, I mean, I probably don't remember a lot of what I learned in chemistry or calculus per se, but I remember the time that it took to mastering something that was hard for me. Like English, that was always easier for me to do. English is my shtick, but I'm so glad that I chose to really apply myself in areas that I wasn't as good at, because it really builds critical thinking skills, which is now what you can take into trading, you can take into engineering, you can take into communications, which is what I'm doing, and counseling, which is what I'm planning to do, and perseverance, which is something that you can build into anything. So that's my biggest tip. I doubt anybody ever is going to watch this that's like not already a trader. I don't know if anybody ever will watch this, period. But that's my biggest tip is don't underestimate the other skills that you've learned in whatever field you're in that you can bring into trading. And the skills that you can learn in trading that you can apply to other areas of your life. You'll never know. I did not think I would be a trader. It's funny, like I would walk over to my brother's setup and look at this and be like, it's so confusing. I would never understand it. There's so many numbers, so many things I just didn't get. And it's like, there are so many things I still don't understand. But it's like, it's not that difficult. Like, it is difficult, but it's like having the attitude like I would never understand it. I kind of laugh at that now because, like, I love reflecting on all the things that I now understand that I take for granted. But it's like, now looking at this stuff, it's not so freaking overwhelming. Hey, trading farmer, ayo, woo! I asked, what made you start trading? Please answer the question. Please answer the question. I was just telling them how this, I would walk by your setup and this would just be the most confusing thing. And I remember trading as a joke and I made like $2 or something. And I was actually like kind of happy. I was like, oh, I made $2. You wanted to be a billionaire because you wanted to give your money to other people, right? That's what you wanted to do. You wanted to spread the wealth. I am currently my brother's #1 cause. Yeah, so he can't really have any other causes because he has me. Once I start getting my wings off the ground, then he can start doing those other good causes. But yeah, that's my first phase. Don't underestimate it and don't think you couldn't do it. Also, I think when I first started, a lot of farmers, followers, and other people, I mean, other people still laugh at me, like people I know, when I tell them about it. And they'll like ask me a question I don't know how to respond, and like, because there's still parts about it that I didn't really know what options were, and I'm still a little bit confused about options. And somebody asked me like, do you trade options? And I was like, wait, do I? Like still things that are like I should know the answer that I don't necessarily know, but who cares? If I end up green on the day, then I don't care if I can't necessarily answer a particular question. So that's also another tip is there's so many things to understand and to soak in, and I think you need to, sift through and see like what is actually really pertinent to my trading strategy and trading in the beginning phase, and then you can kind of scale in a bit more with more information. But in the beginning, I was just trying to understand everything, and that's just not how to do it, especially with something that's so different than anything I've done. There's no way. So I think getting just big picture idea of what you're trying to do and simplifying it down, and then this is my life quote, and I think this is what's going to help me be a better trader is being relentlessly curious. Hey RT, relentless trader, shout out. This is nothing to do with you. I just realized it's the same word, but being relentlessly curious is really important. Asking questions all the time, and figuring them out. Sometimes I do notice that I like just ask farmer, and it's like I should take the time to deliberately look it up on my own before I ask farmer, and like ask farmer if I'm confused about something, not just because he's there and it's so easy to ask him, because that is a huge temptation. It is something I take advantage of. But always be asking yourself questions like about your own performance. When you see somebody else's performance, like, oh, well, why did they do that? And why didn't they do this? And just if you don't understand something, always trying to find that answer. But yes, definitely in the beginning, it's big picture. It's nothing too crazy. Because I was just like very overwhelmed, and then I would just like, I'd ask 2 questions, be really confused, give up, and not really force myself to continue to think about it. And for me, I think compared to like, maybe this is not true. I really don't know. I'm not in anybody else's brains, and I don't really know much about other people prior to training or anybody else's stories. But it does take me a while to process things, to understand it. Like I have to process it to understand it. And basic things like I sucked at economics because I couldn't really always, like, to me, how supply and demand worked was very, like, confusing. I couldn't predict those patterns. And so that's why I didn't think I could be a trader, was because high school economics was hard for me. But I do think part of that still kind of lives on with my trading career today, where certain things are difficult that I think other people could probably process faster. But whatever. That means you just have to take longer to process it. What you gonna do? Don't compare yourself to other people's journeys. And it's just more motivation to work harder to understand things. Because then you get, like I said, even the process of thinking through things, building up those brains. So, yeah, I started 3 months ago. I'm pretty much sure that I'm red. Like, I haven't made any money over the course of the whole thing. I would have been green on October, lost money on the very last day. November, I was red. I'm pretty sure I'm red right now. Which is, oh my gosh. Ooh-wee. It is a little bit disconcerting because I've been doing it longer and somehow I'm, like, worse off. But I was trading with bigger share sizes and market was a little bit hotter. It's been a little bit more dead. So I have to be understanding that sometimes it's me, sometimes it's the market. But I'm just gonna keep going. Like, I don't think I'm at that. I think once I hit, like, the 5-month mark, I'm really gonna be, like, doing less of the experimenting and more, like, let's really start honing in, being really strict to stop losses. I should probably start this at, like, 4 month, but that's, like, in a month, and I just can't even imagine, like, hey, yeah, 4 months. Like, once I'm done with month 3, like, January 15th. So January 15th to March 15th is when I'll really get strict on myself. Right now, I still think that I'm in the experimental phase where, you know, I'll keep trading just so I can learn the pattern of the stocks more, even if it doesn't necessarily, I mean, I could just watch, but sometimes I'm just like, oh, I'll just keep trading. And so I'll probably end up losing money, but I mean, I'm also gaining experience. So March 15th is my day. We'll see. Yeah, I think I covered some surprising things about trading, which is number one, that I feel that I'm capable of understanding it and learning it. Just takes patience and persistence. Persistence is key. That's my brother says a lot. And also having Farmer, I hear his same spiel, like, all the time, and it's so ingrained in me that, like, in a good way, where I also take those things for granted. Like, there are just certain things that I really feel like I truly understand because he's pounded into me so much about them. And there are lessons that I think other people have to learn that they don't necessarily hear that all the time. So I come in having a lot of knowledge just because Farmer is my brother. And I'm very grateful for that. I am very grateful for that. It's both the tangible things of the knowledge and the skills. Let's get it. But also the intangibles of what it means to, green is good. Some days green is just freaking good. I need to learn that. And like, knowing which stocks to trade, not dabbling in the $1 or, like, the over, actually 2QQ is a little bit different. But yeah, I'm really grateful for him. I'm currently, as you can see on my screen, trading the Qs. Let's see, did I ever have, yeah, I didn't, like, I don't know, I don't really know how to read QQQ. Okay, well, it's like the freaking exact same thing. Never mind. Huh. yeah, I don't really see it necessary to have QQQ pulled up. I usually just have my chat window there if I'm streaming because it's the same thing. It's just that this is a derivative of this. I'm trying to remember, like, where did I buy? I think, is this 5 minutes? Yeah. Is this, yeah, because I think I saw, is this like the algo spike? I'm pretty sure, I don't know. Was it red for that long? I can't remember where I bought. But I'm thinking this is where I bought, and then I sold, I don't know, in here somewhere. And that's where I made 33 bucks. I literally, it was bad. I bought and I walked away, which is not really recommended because it could have really done something bad. And I should be practicing having, also I learned what bracketing is today. So I'm going to do that. I'll set explain support and resistance to you for like an hour a day for 5 days straight. We did watch a very long YouTube video about support and resistance. Well, I don't know why you specifically say support and resistance. I'm curious. I mainly understand it within the context of half and whole dollar. So support at 12, resistance at 12.50. And I have gotten like different messages about buying and selling around the half and whole dollar. Like someone that we watched was saying like buying at 12.50, and like that didn't really make sense to me. I would do that at like 12.45, and if it's really not wanting to break it, well, it depends. If you feel confident, then I would put my stop loss in, I don't know, 12.30, let it come all the way down. If I'm not, then I would probably just bow out if it's like not gonna do it. But usually after half dollar, usually I said this once, like, oh, it goes blah 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 blah, and he's like, and Farmer got mad, and he's like, no, nothing is for certain in this market. You need to say usually. So usually it will springboard, like if it does break 12.50, and then you'll see some action after that. He uses that a lot with the lines and looks for entrance points. Yeah, I've kind of gotten out of the habit of looking at half and whole dollar with the Qs because I don't know. I don't like, haven't paid attention to that as much, which is not particularly good. With the Qs, someone reminded me, and I was like, I need to learn this lesson. You got to be patient. It's a stock where, like, it's just very different than the ones that I usually do, where they're $2 and they're a little bit lower float. Like, this is it. Performs a little bit more. I mean, like, it's an index and it's higher float and it costs more money. So that's just very different than the ones that I usually trade. And it's not like a scalping stock necessarily, because I have done scalping with it where I'll do it within like one candle even, or two. But that's not necessarily how you can make a lot of money, and then it can easily go down. It's very persnickety. So I like I said earlier, let's see. I didn't buy it that low. I did buy it when I think it was lower than that, but I don't know. What's this price? I left it for 9 minutes. I don't know. Okay, I think I bought right here. I had made like $2 or $3 off of like 100 shares. And because that's my thing, is I'm trying to really go in not with 500 shares, which I don't really trade 500 shares that much. But I'm trying not to do too big of share size, especially with SQ. SQ, it's $40. Look, oh my gosh. Yeah, people on the stream were talking about how SQ is the one to trade today, which, yeah, that is pretty good. But I'm more familiar with TQ, and like, can we zoom out here? Like, it always, if you buy the red after it's been going red a bit, I just feel like it's a pretty good look. Like, don't buy red here, obviously, if it's like the second candle. You just never know. After it like broke a new high. Did it break it? Yeah. But I felt pretty confident buying here since it had been red for so long. And that it would go back up. Yeah, like red, it's gotta go up. Like, it's springboarding. Now it is.
What time are you going with your friends?
1.
Till what time?
I don't know, probably a long time.
Like 6?
Maybe, yeah. Are you having your meeting?
Yeah.
He's having his meeting about live trading. Yeah, probably with QQQ, VWAP is a good resistance. Yeah. When was it when I was trading and I had like this sudden epiphany? I was like, oh wait, I should be paying attention to VWAP. Like, it's really pushing up towards VWAP. And it was like a good breakout. Yeah, VWAP is good. I'm not so sure that half and whole dollar is as much as a pressure for the Qs. Here's the thing. I'm making all this up. It's just my thoughts on it. Because like people have said, I think it's more like the overall pattern, which is why VWAP would be more pertinent, is just like the overall thing. And I just don't think, because it's like such a bigger stock, and I think when it's like $2 and it's like a hot one of the day, like there's a little bit more like paying attention to the nitty gritty. You know what I mean? Patrick, if you're still here, tell me if I'm right. But I feel like with something like this, you have to look at more like the overall price action of what it's doing, which I've had to learn my lesson because I lost some money this week. I made money on Monday. I don't really remember what I made. And I don't really know, this is turning into such a long stream. I don't think anybody's watching and I need to wrap this up. But I like trading the Qs. I think, like my brother said, he's like, don't go down such a big rabbit hole with the Qs though, and I agree. Because I miss out like days like, yeah. Yeah, Patrick. I think I'm just gonna finish out, what is today? Today's Thursday. So I'll do Friday with the Qs, and then I'll return to the normal stocks. It's just really easy. You wake up and you just know what you're going to trade. Like, I really like that part. It takes away some of that, like, frantic, what do I need to trade? What do I need to trade? And I feel like half the time I'm not trading the right stocks. Like, other people are trading different ones. And, like, farmers like, oh, you're trading this one, right? I'm like, no. Because it's not on the scanner that we use. Like, I can read the scanner we use just fine and usually pick out the one that farmer uses and, like, kind of guess and check with him. But other times I have to look up Relentless's stream to see what he's trading. Or I have to call out to farmer. And then it just becomes frantic because that's usually an indication that the other one wasn't going well for me, which is why I'm now having to shift. And then I get sloppy. I can't, like, I know there are some traders that trade like 7 stocks. No, I think 3 is my max, which is kind of what farmer does. Farmer prefers to stick with with just a few stocks. And also, trading late into the day is not a habit I'm ever going to do. I know other people do that. Power hour, I'm never going to do that. So the QQQ is just dumping. Yeah, it is just dumping. And it was easy, stressless, and I liked it. Now, if this was my real money, I'm trying to envision this. If this was my real money, that would probably be not something I wouldn't have just walked away. But it's also hard because I've had the tendency to sell too early, and then it's like, oh, like it kept going up and I got nervous here. So like this move is good. It just takes a while. How many cents is that? That's not even that many. It's like 27 cents and it takes like 10 minutes. And today, since it was a bad economic day and everybody was like, oh, this sucks, that's why I like the Qs, because like it's just a lot easier. You're not fighting against low volume or crazy halts, or it's not crazy. It's like dating that not old. It's like dating someone that's really reliable and they're not necessarily maybe as exciting, but it's a little bit more like, okay, I can rely on this. So anyways, the Qs is coming to an end. I'm sad. I'm probably still going to dabble in it. I'm glad I took this time. I said to Farmer that I wouldn't mind dumping stuff in it, leaving it, trading something else, and then coming back. Which I'm like, I don't know. I don't think it's a terrible, like if I really feel confident, like look how this is the same thing over and over and over again. I feel like I decently understand TQQQ, and it's not like the worst idea in my mind. He said, no, you shouldn't really trade two different stocks at the same time, which I understand. But I just have to manage risk a little bit better, because I've had days, like trading TQQ and SQQQ, nah, it doesn't work for me. I know people were asking in Farmer's stream if I trade SQ, they're like, oh, it's just the numbers. I know! I've had so many people ask me if I understand TQ and SQ. I do. Like, I know that SQ is the inverse of TQ. I have had many folks ask me that. I understand that. I just prefer trading TQ. It's lower price. I don't like how expensive SQ is. It's just not something I'm really used to at all, and it's harder for me to figure that junk out. And if TQ is not doing great, then I just won't do anything with it. I think it's easier for me to stick to it. In Fantasyland, it sounded so fun and easy. It's like, oh, TQ is going down, trading SQ. But like you said, it's more of a dump thing. And I get a little bit, and I'm used to like in, out, in, out, in, out. And I didn't really get to capitalize that much by doing that because it's longer stretches. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. I didn't really talk about my trading journey, to be honest. Kind of did. Talked a little bit about the psychology of what I've had to process through as a trader. But yeah, I don't know if Farmer is trading or streaming tomorrow. If he is, check that out. If he's not, maybe I'll stream and then have a little cameo with the Farmer. But thanks for tuning in. I will catch you some other time.